Rodolfo Bellato coming in at plus 195 against Murtaza Talha. The undefeated Talha coming in 27 years of age, same age as Rodolfo Bellato, who has been on the Contender Series before. He was on the season last year, and he fought Vitor Petrino, got knocked out. Those are his only two losses. He's fought Vitor Petrino twice and got knocked out both times, once in the first round, once in the second round. Since then, he's gone over to the LFA, got back-to-back wins, finds himself back here on the Contender Series. As for Murtaza Talha, he's undefeated, 6-0. You can kind of tell by the name. He's got the that grit to him. You see those guys over from Eastern Europe and Asia, and they got that grit to him. And he's been fighting in Brave CF, Octagon. He's picked up all of his wins by finish. The guy looks like he's pretty dang good if you watch him on film. And he's coming in a favorite against a guy who's been here before. Do you think he gets it done?
It's interesting, right? I mean, we talked about how this card could be really exciting. Honestly, I think this fight could turn into a snooze fest, if I'm being honest. Like, you look at the style of Talha, and his boxing's okay. It seems like he's probably like developing and getting better with the striking, because you can tell he's a grappler and he's a wrestler first. And it shows, like, he gets in on guys and he puts them up against the cage and he just drags you down to the ground. He's heavy on top. He'll land good ground and pound. But Bellato he's a grappler as well. We saw him against Vitor Petrino, got knocked out on the Contender Series, and has won a couple of fights since then, I believe. But his last fight against Dos Santos turned into be a pretty damn boring fight as well. A lot of grappling, a lot of work in the clinch, and he ended up getting the win. But it makes it interesting against Talha, because I think Bellato on the feet's probably going to be a little more powerful, maybe a little more aggressive and wild. But if this thing hits the mat, I think Bellato has a chance to at least survive on the bottom. But if he gets on top, he's a good enough grappler. I think he could do some damage to Talha and make it interesting. For the pick, I do think Talha probably has the better endurance here. I think better top pressure. He's heavier. And Bellato sometimes just gets a little too, content with fighting off of his back, because he is such a good grappler and his jiu-jitsu is really, really good. And I think if he does that, Talha is just going to stay on top all night and win by decision or some kind of ground and pound or something. But, for the pick, I'm going to go with Talha. But the one thing I did notice on film too is he's never really a lot bigger than any of these guys at 205. He's kind of shorter, and Bellato's pretty damn big. So maybe that makes it a little harder for him to get the takedowns himself. Maybe Bellato can do some good work. But I think Talha is going to be a little more composed and have the better gas tank here. So I'm going to pick him.
Yeah, Talha's on an 18-fight win streak. I mean, he's never lost. He's undefeated as an amateur. He's got an amateur win over Anton Turkalj, who's in the UFC. And you look at the level of competition, it's not like complete hands. I mean, he's still fighting, 7-1, 8-2. He's finishing dudes pretty quick. All his wins come in the first round, except one of them was a submission in the second round. I do wonder about the gas tank, maybe because we haven't really seen him pass, second into the third round. Bellato just fought a 5-round main event title fight for LFA and won a decision in that way. So it's an interesting one here. Light heavyweight, you get a little bit of variance as far as, knockout. Flash knockout is obviously live. Bellato does have some knockouts on his record. A lot of that's going to come to ground and pound, just getting on top and punching him out. For the pick, I'm going to go with Talha as well. I do think he's just going to be a little bit too much for Bellato. Bellato has been KO'd before. Murtaza could definitely catch him with something on the feet. I'll go with him for the pick. But Bellato, been here before. When you come back after losing, you got a little chip on your shoulder. He could pull something out for the pick. I'm going to go with Talha, though.